Hey guys, this is Abe. I hope everyone had a good day today. Sorry, it is a late video. I didn't have a chance to record this video any sooner. But anyway, here it goes. So we're just going to take a look at ES today and the potential price levels. But first, let's take a look at the economic calendar for tomorrow. And tomorrow is probably going to be somewhat of a volatile morning. Starting at 8:30 Eastern, we have the core PCE price index, which is the price consumption index. Basically, this measures the change in prices for products and services that are bought for consumption, including food and energy, from the consumer's perspective. So it actually shows a probably another, it's another measurement here for inflation. So this is definitely going to be an important number that will be released tomorrow. The other thing that's important that we need to look at tomorrow is at 9 Eastern, we have both Fed members, Mr. and Williams, speaking. And at 11 Eastern, we have Bowman scheduled to speak. And finally, at 4:15 Eastern, we have Williams also speaking, but this is not going to matter much because markets will be closed by that time, so it probably wouldn't have much of an impact. As a matter of fact, I would think probably by market open, we would have chosen the direction that we're going to go. So, without any further ado, let's take a look at the charts over here so we can look at the levels, and we'll look at today as well and see what uh, what transpired today, what happened, and what are the levels that we're looking out for tomorrow. So, to start with, I'm going to go ahead and switch to the 5-minute chart. After the rip that we had over here on Wednesday, overnight we consolidated a little bit. We dropped down a little bit overnight, and in the morning, we came down to this level around here, around the 3680 area. And right off the open, actually, there was a very heavy bearish flow. If I'm going to go ahead and switch to the screen where we can see the market net flow, as you guys can see over here, you'll see that the puts were just flying right off the bat. And the volume was very heavy actually on them. And even though calls kind of, started going up a little bit, they remained at a very weak level. So it gave us a pretty bearish setup for the entire day. And it's also worth mentioning over here that the delta cumulative for the day before was green. So technically, people would think like, okay, well, maybe this is going to have to be a green day. Well, this is actually starting to prove to me that this is not necessarily the case. I would think probably DEX works a lot better in trends. I would say like if we are trending up or trending down, you'll probably see that the trend is going to continue, perhaps by seeing lots of calls or lots of puts, on a particular day. But you can also combine that by looking at the actual flow and try to see what is being bought. Add to that your technical analysis, of course. But Wednesday was a pretty strong day as far as like move to the upside. If we switch back to the chart over here, you'll be able to see we had a pretty massive rip, I would say. People that play calls all the time were very happy to finally get somewhat of a relief. But the ones that kept holding, thinking that we're just going to continue to the upside and that the price moves in one way and it doesn't move in waves, honestly got burnt on Thursday, on a day like today. So again, to look at the chart, it was kind of clear that this level over here that we were looking at, the 3677 area, once it broke below this area, I actually took a put and on SPY and I exited over here right around 3660 because this is still remains to be a key level. And I wanted to make sure that, hey, what if we bounce over here and just come back to mitigate this area? I just wanted to secure my profits. And so, the bearish setup continued, and as you saw in the market net flow, uh, they just continued buying puts and taking the price further down, down, down. We bounced off here, off of this area around the 3630, and we created this little channel over here, creating somewhat of a bear flag. As a matter of fact, you can also see over here somewhat of a head and shoulders also. I like head and shoulders usually after a trend to the upside. For example, you see head and shoulder, it indicates a reversal, or if it is an inverse head and shoulder after a downtrend, that will indicate also a reversal. They work best this way, but still, nonetheless, it forms somewhat like a head and shoulder over here. If we're going to go ahead and draw it, you'll be able to see it. See what I'm talking about here in this area. And this will be basically your head and shoulders. Right over here, there's your left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder, and it broke below the neckline. It took it also another, about what from the neckline, I would say, from 53 down to the 3640 would have been probably my target had I taken this put, but I didn't honestly. This would have been a target. Anyways, it was a pretty decent day, actually. It played out pretty good. We looked at the flow, we looked at the levels, everything went well. A lot of the members actually did really well today. But today here, or like after today, after this drop over here, we kind of stayed in this level. And so there are two areas of importance that we need to look at tonight. First one, let me just go ahead and remove. Actually, we're going to keep these two puppies over here. We're just going to add some more. So the first area of significance for me over here is going to be 3673. If we come back tomorrow and break right above that, the target to the upside first will be right around 39, I'm sorry, 36, about 3700, I would even say. And I will show you here in the volume profile why I chose this area. And I think this is going to be a magnet over here for the price if we break above this level. From here, there is a chance that we can go a little bit higher or try to go a little bit higher. I don't expect it to be very strong unless there is going to be some kind of a catalyst in the market that actually would rip the market going to the upside. But my absolute highest for tomorrow will be somewhere about 37.25, which will be massive. As a matter of fact, looking at the price right now, we're at 36.44. We're talking about like, what, 80 points. So that's a pretty decent move, actually. However, a very decent trade will be the break above this level over here at around 36, 70 to 50 or so. So let's just say if you take a trade somewhere over here, 36.78 or 36.80, you could probably see it move up all the way upwards of about 3700. That could be a decent target. Now to the downside, uh, I would say that the break below this level over here at around 3620, that's definitely going to be a trigger. Like, the loss of this area of the 3640 area should be kind of like uh, an alarm, I should say, that hey, chances are we're probably going to move down. If we break below this level, um, there is a pretty good chance that we'll actually hit downwards of 3600. Now, 3600 is a whole number. So first of all, you need to take that in consideration. And we talked about it in the previous video that this level actually had some importance previously from back in November and December of 2020. As a matter of fact, if you want to take it to the tick or like to the penny, I would say anywhere between 35.93 all the way to 3600. But 3600 being a whole number, you probably will find some buyers sitting at that level, so it could actually bounce from there, or you can see some kind of a reaction. You need to keep in mind that Fridays usually tend to be low volume. They might have higher volatility, so you can probably see a touch here and a bounce back to the 3620 or 3640 area. So we can actually range in this region over here. So just, keep your targets realistic. Don't try to go for the home run. If it happens, it happens. But realistically, if you want to take a successful trade with good risk to reward ratio, the break above this level over here, this will indicate prob high possibility for us to hit upwards of about 3,700, and a break below this level over here, if we hold below the 3640 and we come back and break around 3620 even, you know, I don't think this little level over here will hold. If I am going to go ahead and see, there was a reaction over here and over here. This was somewhat of a fake out, so I wouldn't consider this little end area of being a support. So if we break below here, I would definitely see us um, dropping down to 3,600. Now, if 3,600 did break, again, just because of what we saw back in November and December, that level being a level of high significance, I definitely would expect that we might have some kind of a reaction over here. Now, that being said, we can continue even downwards of 3650, even 3660, but I'm not sure that's going to happen tomorrow. Today, that had a lot of a sell-off on Tesla, AMD, like all pretty much, tech was selling very heavy. As a matter of fact, Nasdaq seemed like it was a lot more bearish when it broke this morning than its counterpart. And so usually Nasdaq and ES, they move around the same, in the same direction. This is what I usually like to see, for both of them to move in the same direction. But as you guys can see over here, I think as a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, when I was looking, that Nasdaq broke before ES actually in the break-in. So to go back on ES and take a look at the volume profile to see why the 3700 could be a magnet here in this area. Now, if you guys remember from this drop over here from the CPI report that we've had, if I'm going to go ahead and just take a fixed volume profile, fixed range, I'm going to take it from this area to today. As you guys can see, the point of control for this entire area was right around here at around 37.10, 37.11 or so. So, a break above this area over here, and we are at the value area low right here, where's the yellow line, right? So if we actually break above this little resistance over here, as you guys can see, we can consider this somewhat of a downtrend channel. And in downtrend channels, you were making lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. This being your last lower high. If we break above it and hold, chances are we're going to come back and test this previous high, right? Uh, mind you, again, this doesn't have to happen. It could like break out over here and reject real quick halfway through, but chances are, from price action usually will indicate that this is probably what would happen if we break above this area. And this will be right here, your point of control for this entire move. Now, if I want to take that fixed volume profile and just use it for the move that happened from Wednesday through Thursday, just this last big move to the upside and to the downside, it's giving me the value area high somewhere around 36.95 or so. So again, it's kind of an area that shows a some kind of significance. As you guys can see over here, the volume, there's kind of like a skinny belly over here is what we call it. So chances are if we break above this area, you probably would see the price move upwards of this next volume node, which is right around 3,700. So I will definitely keep my eye on it. But for me, just because of the action that happened today, I think we probably will have somewhat of a continuation tomorrow, perhaps. I hope that would happen actually, and just we come back here and break and continue to 3,600 and probably down to about 35.90 or 35.80. I'm just hoping that it doesn't happen overnight, just that we don't miss out on it, or that it doesn't happen pre-market if the numbers came out in the report not looking so fresh. This way, they'll come back and we'll open the market somewhere down here, and I would hate to see that happen. Uh, but We know both levels now to the upside, the bullish case, and we know the bearish case. And if we hold below the 3600, then we're going to start looking for our supports here in this area below that 3580, 3560 probably after that. And but if we break above this area over here, like I said, I'll probably just take my profit somewhere up here. I wouldn't try to be too greedy. If you end up having a position with multiple contracts on SPY or SPX, I would say definitely secure some profit over here if you want to leave a runner or something like that, to go upwards of probably try to see if we can go hit upwards of 3720. You can, or 3725 area. This is also an area of importance. This consolidation area makes what we call kind of like a golden box where there's a lot of consolidation and usually the price comes back even if they are to continue to the downside, they might come back, mitigate off of this area, and then boom, they will continue. Um, take a quick look at the US dollar index here. I haven't looked at it in a couple of minutes. You remember we reached upwards of this area here, close to 115, which is pretty, impressive. This is highs that we haven't seen in 22 years or 20 years, I want to say, since 2002. Um, there is still a chance for this obviously to reject, and obviously rejected here in the 111, 680 area. It could come back over here upward, downwards of 110.75 or so. But from the looks of it tonight, it seems like, I don't know. I mean, looks like it's probably just creating somewhat of a bull flag. So you need to keep an eye on that if that remains. If this breaks, it's gonna look something like that. If it breaks, obviously we need it to create maybe like another higher high over here and come back and break it. And then the targets will be the resistances that you see over here around 113,776. And of course, I guess let's just call it 52-week high of 114,780. And from there, probably I will just go with whole numbers, or I will go to the previous resistances that we see over here. Um, we might end up seeing well, we see here 115, 350, and 116, 735. Obviously, if that happens, that's not going to be good news for the Feds. And so far, there's been a lot of bad news for the Feds. The job market is doing great. That's not what they want to see. The inflation, they keep talking about how, you know, I'm not sure if they're actually, maybe they're just waking up right now and trying to figure out, okay, well, what we're doing is probably working, but it's going to end up sending the economy in a recession. So I was reading a tweet that JP Morgan was talking about how this push in the US dollars could probably lead to a disaster, which tend to agree because nothing that goes up stays up. Everything that goes up comes down. So that's just the nature of things. Um, Last thing I'm going to look at here is going to be Bitcoin. And again, we'll probably see a move like in the market with it. Again, there's an area of consolidation over here for Bitcoin, kind of like a golden box. And so if we break up, you know, above about 19,759.43 area or 50, let's just call it, we could probably come back and touch about 20,000, 2150. Um, you know, Even if we break above that and 2,500, you just have to keep an eye on this line of resistance that we have. We're going to go to a larger time frame. As you guys can see, we have one, two rejections, and as a matter of fact, we'll probably need to just move it down just a tad. So yeah, you need to be very careful here in this area to see if this is gonna actually reject. If it rejects, we'll probably continue back and test, um, you know, this low over here and the second low over here, downwards of 17,597, and this is going to be key. If it breaks, we can see actually a pretty decent fall. Um, that's it basically for the major indices. I wouldn't worry too much about oil today or natural gas. I apologize for all the lines. If this is the first time you're watching this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and like. And if you would like to trade with us live, there will be a description for Discord, or I'm sorry, there will be a link for the Discord in the description. We're running a special for a free month. The details will be in the server, so feel free to join us. We'd love to see you there. Give us a shot, see if you like it, and I'm pretty confident you will stay. And anyways, that's about it for tonight. Thank you guys so much, and have a great night.